welcome to this beginner and intermediate mandolin lesson, and for the next 15 minutes or so we're going to have a look at the Irish ballad called The Star of the County Down. There's a lot of different bands that have done versions of this, and so the version I'm basing this on is the one that I first came across this tune, which is the Van Morrison and the Chieftains version. If you haven't heard it, I suggest you go and check it out. I'll link it below. So all my chords and melody are based off that version. We're going to start with the beginner version. We're going to learn the melody and the chords, and then once we've done that, I'll teach you an intermediate version, which will play a slightly harder melody and a slightly different way of playing the chords. So this is just a 16-bar melody, and you can split it into 4 different phrases of 4 bars, which is how we're going to learn it first. And don't forget, as always with my videos, the tab, there's a PDF workbook available at the link below. There's a full kind of PDF worksheet you can download that will guide you through this, that kind of corresponds with this video. So our first phrase sounds like this. That's phrase 1. That's how long all the phrases are going to be. So try and play that with me. Don't forget, have the tab with you using the link below. So this will be after 3. And we'll do it a little slower than that. So this is phrase 1. 1, 2, 3. Lovely. Now let's try phrase 2, which is the end of that first line. This is after 3 again. 1, 2, 3. Almost identical to phrase 1. And then we'll move on to phrase 3, which again is after 3 beats. It's the end of the second line and then all of the third line. 1, 2, 3. So that's phrase 3. And then our final phrase, you've already played it before. It's the same as phrase 2. So let's just play that together. 1, 2, 3. And then you just keep looping that round. So let's very quickly stick all of those together. And don't forget, at any point if it's too fast, that you press the cog down here in YouTube and you can slow me down. So we'll try all 4 phrases together after 3, about that speed. 1, 2, 3. This is quite a tricky one, especially for beginner players, for the chords, because they're quite fast moving. And we're in the key of E minor, and we need 5 different chord shapes for this tune. And for you beginner players, I'd like you to use these 5 chord shapes. So this one for E minor, which is open, 2, 2, 3. That's quite an important shape if you can master that. So that's E minor. And then C, you just your standard 2-finger G. For C, you're just your standard 2-finger C chord. So O, 2, 3, O. And it looks like that. And then the same shape for your G, just moved over 1 string. So it's O, O, 2, 3. So that's your G chord. And then your D chord is your standard D, which is 2, O, O, 2. And then finally, chord number 5, they're not too bad. Your B minor, this is a tricky one. There's no as far as I can see, no nice obvious version. So I'd like you to try and play this one, 4-4-5. Now if you look carefully, it's the same shape as that E minor, just moved over here. That's why the E minor shape's quite important. So I want you to try that B minor. So what you need to do is just have a little practice of moving between them, because they move really quickly. So it's E minor, C, G, D, that quick. So just have a little play. Make sure you can move between them, and make sure, because you'll always be going from the C to the B minor. So that's an important movement from that to that. So what I suggest you do is play those and maybe loop the video back and try and play along with me playing the melody earlier. And then once you've tried that, now we're going to have a jam of the tune. So I'm going to start by playing the melody, and then I'll switch to playing the chords, and then I'll switch back to playing the melody, and then I'll switch back to playing the chords. So we're going to go through it 4 times, and it'd be nice if you can do the opposite of me, but if you're still learning it, then just play the same as me, then you know how it's supposed to sound. And when I'm playing the chords, I'm just going to keep the rhythm simple. I'm just going to keep it... So it's like a bass drum, and you get one of those on each chord. So E minor, C, G. That's how quick we're moving. So might take a bit of practice. I'll have the metronome in, so just follow me, and best of luck. So this is after 3. At this speed. 1, 2, 3. G, D, E minor, C, B minor, 2, 3, E minor, C, G, D, to G, D, E minor, C, B minor, E minor, C, G, D. I'm going to switch to chords. 2, 3. Switch roles. E minor, C, C, G to D, C, to G, E minor, C, and we'll finish here. I want to move on to a intermediate version, and to do that I've basically just filled in the gaps. So in bar 1, you know, you've got quite a, that's all crotchets, so you've got a lot of quavers that can fill in the gaps. So before we can do that, I just want to quickly discuss what key we're in, because hopefully by the first and last chord you will have assumed we're in the key of E minor. But there's several versions of E minor that we could be in. It could be E harmonic minor, E natural minor, and then there's 2 modes as well that it could be in. And just a very quick insight into how I would work out what key we're in. I use the chords as a guide. So we need 7 notes, you know, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. So if we start with our main chord, E minor, that's got E, B and G in it. So there's 3 of our 7 straight away. The next chord is a C. And a C chord has C, E and G in it. So from that, we've already got 2 of those from the E minor, so we'll just add the C. So there's our 4th note. And then the chord after that is a G. That's got G, B and D in it. So from that, we just add in 1 more, which is the D, which hasn't appeared in any of the chords yet. And then our final 4th chord that tells us the whole scale is the D. And in a D, we have D, F sharp and A. And we've not had an F sharp and an A yet. So there's our 7 notes. Just from looking at, or using the arpeggios in the chords, we've now got E, F sharp, G, A, B, C and D. So that's actually a modal form of E minor, because what we're doing there is, this is more from experience, I know that's the notes of a G scale, but starting and ending on an E. So it's exactly the same notes, just by starting and ending in a different place it makes it sound minor. And it's called the E Aeolian mode. It's the notes of a G scale, starting and ending on E. So using that scale, I have written a harder version of the melody, just by filling in the gaps. And this is sort of improvising, but I haven't done this on the hoof. I've kind of sat down and worked out what I like. So you could say this is a form of improvising, but without the pressure, because you get time to edit and you're not put under any pressure. So now we'll have a play of that melody. So just have a go. This will be after 3. It might take you 2 or 3 times of rewinding, but this is what it sounds like. It'll be after 3. 1, 2, 3. 2, 3. 2, 3. So that's maybe a little quick for you, so just keep looping it, you'll get there eventually. 2 main things about that melody. Number 1 is all of the notes that I used to add there were in that scale that we worked out. And second of all, the very last phrase of it, I kept the same, because that's the hook of the melody. The star of the county down. I didn't want to change that, because then it kind of tells everyone we've not gone too off the rails. So I kept that in there. I'd now like you to have a go at playing some harder chords. Yes, the chord progression is already hard, but I think you can make the chord progression a little easier just by learning some harder chords, if that makes sense. And it's all based around chords down here. So the E minor I'd now like you to play. I don't mind if you use your little finger or 3rd finger. I use my little finger on this one. But it's 4th fret, 5th fret and 7th fret. We're not using, at no point in this chord progression do I want you to use the E string. So it sounds like this. It's that E minor. Because what I like about that E minor is if you turn the 4th fret on the lowest string into a 5th fret by barring your finger, you're now on C. So straight away our first bar becomes just by changing 1 note. So there's our first 2 chords, E minor and C. And then the G I'd like you to play is down here, 7, 9, 10. It's the same shape as this G, just moved down here. And then the D is in the same place. The D is this one, where you bar across. So it's 7, 7, 9. So just like the E minor and C that are close together, that G and D are close together. G to D. You can put that high one in, but I just try not to. Just keep it to the low 3 strings for this. So there's 4 of the chords: E minor, C, G, D. Then the B minor I want you to use is the one we used earlier, 4 and 5. And the reason, again, that's useful is because you always go to it in this chord progression from the C, which is here, and the B minor is just there. So look how little my hand's moving there. So C to B minor. So take a bit of time, just play those together. Sort of play the chord progression through, but not in any time. So E minor, C, G, D, E minor, C, B minor. Kind of like that. And now what we're going to do is we're going to have a jam of it again. We'll play it round 3 times. And I'll go melody, chords, melody, and you can either do the same as me or do the opposite. And it might take you a bit of practice because this is tricky, but I'm trying to give you a bit of a challenge to work towards. So best of luck. Here we go. After 3. 1, 2, 3. E minor, C, G, D, G, D, B minor, swap roles. G. Last time swap. G. Oops. 3. For you intermediate players, there's quite a lot going on there that all of the different elements are worth working on. So just a little bit on the theory, why we're in a certain form of E minor. You've got add into a melody, you've got a basic melody, and then you can kind of mess around with it in your own time. You've got quite a difficult chord progression that's quite fast moving, and then you've got a hard chord shapes to add on to it. But all of those things, I'm not just teaching them to you to be mean, which some people have accused me of before. I'm teaching them because all of those different elements really benefit your playing in the long run. A little bit of theory, a little bit of confidence in ornamenting a melody in your own style, a little bit of some difficult chord progressions, and then some work. You can never know too many chord shapes. So all of those elements are worth working on. I hope you've enjoyed the last 15 minutes or so. Please do sign up to the Mando mailing list via mandomike.com and hit subscribe on my YouTube channel for all future free lessons. See you next month.